our own caste system, where a child can never be or aspire to be more than their parents. I'm proud of my public school education, but I want the next generation to have even more than I did. I want them to learn from experienced teachers, curriculum that reflects their lived experience, and I want them to grow with peers that reflect the multiracial democracy that we live in. We cannot afford to send our tax dollars to schools that would reject a student because of their parents. We cannot afford to send a child to a school where they will be taught to hate who they are. We cannot afford to snuff out the ambitions and dreams of young queer kids by rerouting funds to schools where they're not safe. Public schools should serve the public good. It's really that simple. Thank you.
Thank you, Ricardo. Next, we'll hear from Chloe Sykes, Deputy Director of Policy from IDRA.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Chloe Latham Sykes. I'm Deputy Director of Policy at IDRA, which is an independent, nonpartisan nonprofit based right here in Texas. And for over 50 years, IDRA has committed itself to achieving equal educational opportunity for every child through strong public schools that prepare them to access and succeed in college and beyond. And private school vouchers don't help us get anywhere near close to achieving our mission. IDRA opposed Senate Bill 1 and any other legislative proposals that take public school funds away from public school students for private use. Vouchers take Texas students farther away from accessing fair school funding, which has been a 50-year fight and part of our founding, and the high-quality educational opportunities that they are promised that would benefit them all. The bill the Senate passed last week pulls hundreds of millions, $500 million, out of state funds that largely go to funding our public schools. And the majority of Texas students are Latino, are Black, and are other students of color, and are from households that earn a lower income. There's no point in carving out an expensive and highly selective program with no guardrails for student success. We know where our students are, and we know who needs the most support, and they are in our public schools. We know that for large swaths of our state, especially in rural areas, public schools are the primary option and the community hub for students and their families. IDRA analysis shows that 23% statewide of public school campuses are at least 10 miles away from the nearest private school. That's one way, 10 miles away. And 13% exceed over 20 miles away one trip. For many families, traveling more than 40 miles round trip to get your student to and from school doesn't cut it. That is unaffordable and unfeasible. And while a voucher program includes transportation fees, that's something that public schools already have up so that their monies can go towards supporting students in the classroom, in their school classrooms. Texas students deserve to have any publicly funded education also uphold their legal rights. Students who need bilingual education and special education might not meet those services in their private providers or private schools. Private school voucher programs disregard those state and federal education protections, and in the bill passed last week, parents would have to sign away their rights for their student who has disabilities and understand they are waiving those rights to participate in the program. Most voucher programs in other states also allow discrimination against students' religious identities or gender and sexuality identities for admission or for the provision of educational services. And very few require and actually mandate admission and accommodations for students with disabilities. Texas students do not need an expensive lifesaver for just a few. We need a rising tide that lifts all boats. And today's petition asks legislators to seriously invest in public schools without public funding being held hostage, to address our teacher shortage that impacts all our students in the classroom, and to ensure culturally affirming curriculum and books in schools that advance students' success and representation in their educational experience. All students deserve the right to get that education. Thank you.
Thank you, Chloe. Last but not least, we will hear from Nancy Thompson, founder of Mothers Against Greg Abbott and Mothers for Democracy.
Hello, thank you so much. My name is Nancy Thompson. My pronouns are she, her. I am the founder of Mothers Against Greg Abbott, also Mothers for Democracy. And I'm going to take a little bit of a different take than all of these wonderful organizations behind me, because I really want to give everyone a history of how we got here and why this is bad for students. So first, I want to say, to understand where we are right now, we need to understand where we began. So, to establish any public system of education, although possessed of almost boundless resources, these were the words spoken in 1836 as a reason to revolt against Mexico. The first Texans noted the failure of the Mexican government to establish a public system of education. And here we all are, 187 years later, and our voices are still crying for a fully funded public education system in a state that now has in its hands a budget surplus and a rainy day fund of boundless resources. Yet, in nearly 30 years that the Texas Republicans have been in charge of public education in Texas, they have created systems to take away those resources from public education, the same resources that make public education stronger. In 1995, they established charter schools that took away funds. In 2011, they took a historic cut to public education to the tune of $5.4 billion. And this has had impacts that we are still struggling to overcome today. In 2015, we saw the first push for vouchers, and it failed. In 2017, we saw another push for vouchers, and it failed. In 2019, again, vouchers were rejected. Fast forward to 2021. This is the year that we traded the voucher war for the culture wars. And they decided, instead of pushing vouchers, to ban history. They banned the history of all colored people, and including some history from the LGBTQ community. And now here we are in 2023, and we are at war against vouchers again. But this time, they added a few little extra doses of culture wars. And it feels like the ultimate battle. And as a mom speaking for thousands of mothers across Texas, I am here to say enough is enough. This voucher bill, SB1, will negatively impact our communities. 1,026 independent school districts, over 5.9 million students, and over 400,000 teachers and administrators. Public schools are the backbones of our community. They are what brings us all together on those football fields, on the soccer fields, on the basketball courts. We use the buildings to have community events at. And the fact that they bring us together is the very thing that Texas Republicans don't want. They don't want to bring us together. So this is why we're asking our Texas legislators right now, with boundless of resources, Texans demand that you fully fund public schools now and quit holding our children, our teachers, and our students hostage for your culture war. Because when you come after our kids and our teachers and our administrators and the loved ones that we all have that work in public education, well, our moms will be there to fight back. And we will make sure that you get primaried. And we will make sure that no one forgets what you did. And if we're lucky, our fight right now will be put in the history books. It will be remembered as the time that Texans got their voices back. Because moms and parents and students and teachers and administrators, well, we all vote. And we all need you legislators to say no to SB1 and say no to vouchers. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. That concludes our speakers today. People will stick around to take questions, and then we'll head inside to drop our petition to legislators that rejects and demands that all voucher schemes be rejected. Before we do that, though, I would like to lead us in a chant. I'm going to need the help of everyone out here and the help of everyone behind me, please. We are going to say no to voucher schemes. All right. 1, 2, 3. No to voucher schemes. No to voucher schemes. No to voucher schemes. No to voucher schemes. No to voucher voucher schemes. No to 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 voucher schemes. Thank you, everyone. All right, if press has any questions, please feel free to ask our speakers, and then we'll head inside and drop our petition.
Rocio? Yes. Rocio? Can I get you? Yeah, thank you. Yes. Oh. I want to be someone. Rocio, can you? He needs English and Spanish.
Aquí está bien. ¿Aquí? Sí, en el sol.
Si nos puede ayudar con unas palabras para...
We'll see.
Sí. Maybe Ricardo.
Vale is, yeah.
Or just like public education, like